The term handcrafted gets thrown around a lot these days. It's become a movement, a trend that can obscure the passionate folks who actually make amazing things by hand. Their remarkable stories need to be told, and I'm going to find them. I'm Anthony Bourdain, and this is Raw Craft. Frank Shattuck is one fascinating dude. He's a boxer, an actor, and most unexpectedly, a legendary tailor. He makes suits, beautiful, perfectly crafted, bench-made suits that transform the men who wear them into demigods. I'm talking 1,200 hand stitches to turn a lapel his way, the right way. No one is making suits the way Frank does, simply because no one is like Frank. Here's a guy who makes a living with his hands, and he's been turning them into mincemeat for 40 years. So, what gives?
It's a steep climb to learn a skill, especially something as precise, as physically demanding as boxing. I just took up jiu-jitsu at age like 57.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to ask you where do you think you're going with this, because it doesn't matter.
It's learning.
Yeah,
it's about a craft. It's
for me,
learning.
it's about showing up every day
and
sucking a little less at something.
Yeah.
That's enormously satisfying to me.
Frank the boxer gets this. Frank the tailor gets it even more. He spent almost 10 years apprenticing to two tailors from southern Italy who taught him the craft.
The Sesta brothers I worked with for about 8 or 9 years.
Yep.
When they retired, the only reason I moved to New York was to continue learning. So I went down there and worked with Raphael, one of the greatest tailors there was. And I did a year with Henry Stewart.
So how many years of training before you could hang your own shingle?
10 years. And that's how long it takes before you can even consider going out on your own. But also looking at you and sizing you up, that takes another 5 years to get that done. So you're looking at 15 years marinating in it.
A suit that takes 15 years worth of training to make. I've been lusting after one of these ever since Frank and I first met back in 1998. We met in Siberia Bar, a notorious New York City dive located, believe it or not, inside the 50th Street subway stop. I knew right away that I was in the presence of someone extraordinary. And I remember leaving that night thinking someday we'd meet again so I could finally acquire one of his amazing bespoke suits.
You're pretty normal.
Look, good. First time I ever heard that.
You stand straight. You're slim, I mean, I gotta do that, but you got good shoulders and you got bones here. The suit's gonna hit that and it's gonna lift off your neck.
Right.
Even if it lifts off 1/8 of an inch, I have to fix that. You have it on both sides. What I would do for you is a classic 1936 unapologetic shoulder, a nice rope sleeve, and it's just strong. Gotta have a high armhole.
Really?
Yeah.
What happens if you don't? Problems.
If you go like this, the whole suit lifts up.
Right.
The first time someone gets a high armhole, they're like, oh, I can feel it. I'm like, good, I want you to feel it.
Right. You're not swimming around in there.
You're not swimming around. And if it's a little uncomfortable, it's too bad. You gotta wear it.
Right. Now, if you could tell me what fabric, if you could dress me, what would you do?
I would love to steer you towards the fox flannel.
And where does this come from?
The west of England. I mean, look at these. Isn't that
nice.
something?
Yeah.
No brown.
No, for me, it's one of these. That's pretty amazing too, right?
You like that one?
This?
Yeah.
Your first look, you're thinking gray.
Yeah.
Gray flannel, but no, that is a lot going on there. Somebody really put heart and soul into that.
This deserves all of what I was taught by the old men. I can't sit there for 60 hours and do all this work on a cloth that's gonna pill in a year. You know? It took me years to learn how to do this.
What is this? What does this do?
This is the structure. This gives it the body.
The body. I choose a fabric. Inside, giving it its shape and its structure is this.
Is this. Do you see how that cups like this?
Right.
That's my handwork doing it. And this goes back like this, and this is the chest.
That looks like unusually intricately put in. I mean,
See?
nobody sees this, right?
Nobody sees this. No.
All of this work, all of this intricate work, why do you have to make life so hard for yourself?
That's all I know how to do. This is a 65-hour suit, and I can make maybe 10, 12, if I really work 15 suits a year.
10 to 15 suits a year. Frank's the first to admit it's a hard way to earn a living. But he trained with some of the greatest tailors in the world, most of whom are either retired or gone. His hands have absorbed their knowledge, but clearly his heart has absorbed something else.
It's the life. It's all the tailors that taught me, and all the tailors that taught them going back a couple hundred years are all coming into your suit. It's all just little stitch, by little stitch, 1/8 of an inch, not even, a 1/16 of an inch, all by hand to it. For as long as this suit's on earth, 50 years, whatever, those two pieces of cloth are gonna be working with each other. It's just old world stuff from a day when you did things the best possible way because it was just the way things were done.
You know, sometimes, when you get the opportunity to do it right, to take the slow, painstaking way, maybe the customer doesn't even get it always. Maybe they don't know everything that went in to creating this thing, to making this thing. But you know what? I always knew.
Yeah.
And when you do a plate of food right,
That's right.
there is this moment where it sits there in the slide before it goes out of the dining room. It's a moment of satisfaction. I don't need them to come back in the kitchen and say, oh, that was really great, or, well, I really got what you did there. I know. I know.
There's so many stitches in the suit I could cut corners on. I could cut it down to 20 hours. You may know, you may not know, but I'd know. I'm making a suit for myself first, second, and third.
Well, I'm looking forward to my suit.
I'm looking forward to making it.
Very excited. Look, who would have thought a random bar conversation? I'm thinking about it now. It had to be 16, maybe 17 years ago.
Yeah.
Led to this day. Cheers.
Tony, I want you to meet the greatest tailor that ever walked the earth.
An honor, sir.
He taught me everything I know. I know 100th of what he knows.
I remember your name.
Good. I'm glad. I remember your name.
In the Japanese martial arts, there's a concept called beginner's mind. It comes from Zen Buddhism, and it means to have an attitude free of preconceptions when learning, even when, or perhaps especially when, you're an expert. There's more than a bit of that with Frank, who's been making suits for over 35 years and still knows there's more to learn. Quite simply, Raphael is his master, and Frank's not above bringing him to a fitting to get his advice.
Acá te sobra mucho.
Half inch.
Yeah. Where do you want the...
I was going to do it there. You think it's too high?
I would say here.
Yeah. It brings it down, yeah.
It feels really good. I mean, it's in arms, collar, shoulders. It feels really like a suit of armor.
What makes this suit so special isn't just the gorgeous heft of the flannel or the painstaking expertise put into its construction. It's the humility and the history Frank brings to his craft, and the respect for the traditions that shaped him and everyone who came before.